Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I am back with another video, and this time we're going to be doing a full set of extra long acrylic nails. So before we started doing the set, we actually did a soak off, which is why you see all that dust all over the place. But of course, the next thing that we're doing is just going in and pushing back the cuticles, and this step you can absolutely never skip. That is going to help expose the new growth and reduce lifting. After that, we're going in with a 180 sanding band to remove the shine from the natural nail. This is also something that you do not want to skip, because this is really one of the main things that you want to make sure that you do correctly to prevent lifting. So again, this is a 180 sanding band. I'm using my Scarlet Melody Susie nail drill. I do have a promo code for them, so I'll be sure to leave it down below. And I'm using it at 5,000 RPMs. Remember, we're literally just removing the shine from the natural nail, because our body produces a lot of oils. Those oils happen to be on our nail beds, so we have to go in and just gently remove that shine. After we finish removing the shine from the natural nails, we just dust the nails off, and then now we're going to go in and apply the nail tips. And this time I'm using my long stiletto nail tips. These will be back on my website, and I'll be sure to leave the link down below. The website will be back up on February the 4th. So I'll be sure to keep you guys updated on that. So as always, I'm using the KDS glue, which will also be on my website. And as always, we're just, making sure that the nail tip fits exactly from sidewall to sidewall. So we just apply the glue on the nail, place it on the nail bed, holding it down for a few seconds. And you want to make sure that, again, you're applying the perfect size tip, because if not, you will get breakage or lifting. Now I'm going to go in and just trim the very tip of the nail tips, because she wants them coffin. And the reason why I use these nail tips is because she wants them long, and then she wants them like a really slim coffin shape, so that's why it was just easier for me to just go ahead and use these. It's gonna save me a lot of time with, you know, the shaping. So you want to make sure that you always work smarter and not harder. As always, we're just going in and measuring each nail against each other to make sure that they're the right size. And then after that, we're going in with a 100 nail file, shaping the nails into a coffin shape. So as you can see, we're not gonna have to do so much filing because they're already kind of that coffin shape. So we just have to go in and redefine that shape. And then we're also gonna just blend the nail tip right in the middle to make it look a lot more natural. And of course, with these, they are a little bit thicker than the other nail tips, especially right there where the natural nail and the tip meet. So you just want to blend it. You don't want to do too much filing, literally just kind of you know, removing that little bump or lump that you have from the nail tip, and that's pretty much it. So as always, we're filing the sides and the free edge at exactly a 90-degree angle. You want to make sure that you focus on the way that you're holding your file, because if you don't hold it at exactly a 90-degree angle, you're not going to get that shape that you want. You know, again, if you're not holding it right, you might round the corners off and you won't even know that that's what you're doing. But it's just all about the angle of your file. After we shape the nails, we're going in and just applying the primer on the natural nails. I'm using the Young Nail Protein Bond, making sure that you do not get it on the skin, because if they have any little cuts, it will burn them. And also make sure that, of course, you dust the nails off before you apply the primer. But now I'm going to go in with the Mia Secret Nude Blush Acrylic. As you can see, it's a really pretty blush color, really pretty nude. And as you can see, I'm not doing the layer of the Mia Secret pink underneath, because we're gonna be leaving this acrylic color, you know, on the rest of her sets. So next time, of course, that she comes, basically she's not gonna want to take this off. So that's why I'm just going ahead and doing this right on the nail. So as always, we go in and apply the first bead right in the middle where the natural nail and the tip meets. We're gonna apply the next one closer to the cuticle area, patting it down and then brushing it down towards the tip. Remember that when you're working with colored acrylic, we're not looking to build with the colored acrylics. We just want it for the color, and then we go in with, you know, clear, or in my case I use the Mia Secret pink, and I use that to encapsulate the colored acrylic, and then I build my thickness with that, you know, at the apex, and then of course at the tip. And especially with the nails being super long, you do want to make sure that you have a really nice apex, which means that the nail has to be thicker center, like in the middle of the nail, because if not, it will break off. That's where your nail gets its strength from. If you were to bump your nail on something and your nail was super thin, most likely it would break off. And then as always, I forgot to mention that I'm using my alpha brush in a number 10. I'll be sure to leave the link down below. As you guys know, I absolutely love their brushes. They work really good for me, so I do recommend them. If you're a beginner, I would recommend starting off with a number 9 and then just kind of working your way up to a bigger brush. I know there's people out there that, you know, learned how to do nails with a bigger brush and that's kind of what they stuck to. But for me, I actually learned to do nails with a smaller brush, and that's just what I feel more comfortable with. And I think as a beginner, you know, with a bigger brush, you would be picking up a lot more product. And I just feel like it's a lot easier if you just learn how to control your product. You don't want it, you know, running all over the skin or anything. So I think it's better to just work with a little bit of product at a time. Now, if you're doing like a one ball method, then of course, yes, you know, you can use a bigger brush. It would be a lot more easier, but even for me, it's hard to do the one ball method, so that's why I always just do the 4 bead method. And then of course, you know, I kind of just alternate and switch it around as I'm working, just whatever happens. But as a beginner, you do want to make sure that you stick to a certain method, that way you're just not applying acrylic just anywhere. And then if you happen to find yourself doing that, like kind of forget your method, just look at your nail, make sure that you always have a nice apex, making sure that you have that right thickness at your tip as well, so your nails do not break off. But yeah, so we're basically going to be doing this on all of the nails. Again, this is the Mia Secret acrylic in the color Nude Blush. It's a really pretty nude color. That's the same one that I actually have here on my nails. It just goes with really all skin colors, and it just looks really good by itself, or if you add an accent color. So again, we're just going to do this on all of the nails, really nice and simple. But remember, when you're doing extra long nails, you want to make sure that you always have a nice apex and thickness at your tip, because you don't want those nails to break. I also wanted to take the time out to mention that, as you guys know, I use a monomer warmer when it's colder in my area. Lately it's been getting a little bit warmer, but when it's really cold, you know, your monomer always has to be at room temperature. So I do have a monomer warmer that my former teacher gave to me. It's an OPI monomer warmer, and we haven't been able to find it anywhere else. There's only one website that had it, but the website doesn't even work. I know I've had different people telling me that it never worked, but you could always try using maybe like a candle warmer. I haven't tried it just yet, but maybe the kind where you just like maybe you can set the dapping dish on top of the warmer, if that makes sense. So if anyone is trying something, you know, as an alternative to a monomer warmer, let us know down below so we can help some people out, because, you know, it's still the winter time, so it's kind of cold in different places, different states. So just let us know down below what you're using to keep your monomer at room temperature. Alrighty, so we're going to go ahead and go over the steps one more time. So again, we're just doing the bead of the Mia Secret Nude Blush. We're doing the bead right in the middle, gently brushing it down towards the tip, and then as you can see, I also wiped the sides of the nails. My tip on this one was still kind of see-through, so I just went ahead and applied another bead, brushing it down towards the tip. Next, we're going to apply another one closer to the cuticle area. Remember that when you place it closer to the cuticle area, you want to place it as close as you can and then just pat it down to where it kind of spreads as close as it can. But as you can see, you don't want to get it on the skin, and if it happens to get on the skin, make sure that you wipe it off immediately, because once it dries, it's going to be nearly impossible to take it off. And then after that, as you can see, I still had a little bit of a gap on both sides around the cuticle area, so I went ahead and placed another bead, patting it down, and then we're going to go ahead and go around the cuticle area really good to clean up anything that might be, you know, on the skin. And again, as you can see, I wipe the sides, that way I don't get any product that kind of slides over to the sides. And then after that, we're going to go in with the Mia Secret Pink, or as always, you can use your clear, and we're just going to encapsulate the colored acrylic. The reason why is because once we come back to file, we don't want to file too much of the colored acrylic, because then it's going to look patchy. So we just go in and encapsulate it. Again, you can use your clear, but I just happen to use the pink because I have a lot of it. And remember, with this, we're going to make sure that we have a nice thickness at your apex as well as your tip, because you don't want those nails to break off. As pretty as they are, we don't want them to go anywhere. Another thing that you also want to make sure that you do is that you wipe your brush off a lot when you're working, especially when you're working with colored acrylics. It tends to kind of get stuck in your brush a lot easier, so make sure that you wipe your brush off after each time that you stroke the nail. As you can see, like anytime you see the brush not in the camera is because I'm either wiping it off or of course getting a bead of acrylic. As always, I use the Viva paper towels. They absorb the liquid really good. If you don't use good paper towels, the product is going to get stuck to your brush a lot easier, because when you wipe it off, it's not gonna, you know, suck in any of that liquid or product. Is gonna keep building up in your brush, and then it's gonna cause a disaster, because the nails are not gonna be nice and even. It's gonna cause the acrylic to go on really lumpy. So again, make sure that you brush or clean your brush off a lot when you're working. It also, you know, depends on what kind of brush you're using. If you're not using a good quality brush, the product is just gonna automatically get stuck in your brush no matter what product you're using. So you want to make sure that you spend, you know, not necessarily a nice amount of money on your brush. Just make sure that you get, you know, a good quality brush, because there's a lot of brushes out there that are really affordable and of really good quality. But again, I'm using the number 10 Alpha brush, which I absolutely love, and it doesn't give me any problems at all, so I do highly recommend them. Again, I will be sure to leave the link down below, but any brush that you just absolutely love that works for you is completely fine. I'm not saying that you know, have to get what I'm using, but you know, this is just what works for me. Alrighty, so we finished applying the acrylics. So now we're gonna go in with the same 100-100 nail file, and we're just going to be reshaping the nails. As you guys know that after we apply the acrylic, it might take away from the shape, so we just have to go in and basically redefine that shape. But same thing, just following the sides and the free edge at exactly a 90-degree angle, because remember, it's all about your shapes. I feel like if you're doing nails and you're a beginner, and it's like if your application is still kind of like it's okay, but if your shape is like really good, it kind of takes away from everything else, and it just kind of makes the whole nail look a lot better. So you want to make sure that you have a really nice shape. I know before I feel like my shape was good, but then I started paying a little bit more attention to it, and then that's when like all of a sudden my shaping started to get a lot better. You just have to make sure that you pay attention to what you're doing. As you can see, a lot of the time I always hold their fingers together and just kind of stare at the shape for a few seconds, and then if I see something, then of course I go in and just fix it. But you want to make sure that you don't just rush through a set. You pay attention and make sure that you don't have your clients walking out of your shop looking all types of ways. Next, we're going to go in with the fine drill bit. I'm using again the Melody Susie nail drill, and I do have a promo code for them, so I'll leave that down below. But for this part, I'm actually using it at 10,000 RPMs. Remember that when we're doing this, we first go around the cuticle area from the right side over to the left side, just going back and forth until we're able to see where the cuticle is, where the natural nail is, and where the acrylic is. That way we know that the acrylic is not on the skin. And then of course making sure that the rest of the nail is nice and smooth and we don't have any bumps or lumps. We're going to go ahead and do that on all of the nails, but remember, you want to make sure that you spend enough time around that cuticle area, because that's where your lifting will come from. Alrighty, so now we're going to go in with the buffer, and this is just going to get rid of any of the scratches left on the nail from the hand file or the e-file. So make sure that you buff those nails really good. After this, we're going to go ahead and just dust the nails off. You can have your client go wash their hands, or like me, I just wipe them off with an alcohol wipe. Also, just a little warning that you want to make sure that during this time you take extra precaution in sanitizing your implements and just disinfecting your area after each client, because you know it's so much going around with the flu and all that stuff. So make sure that you also wash your hands and have your clients wash their hands before you start working on them, because you don't want to, you know, risk anything. Alrighty, so now we're going to go in with the Madam Glam Perfect Red Gel Polish, and we're going to do the tips on all of the nails. I'm not sure what you would call this, if this would just be a regular French tip, because it's like the deeper smile line, I guess I could say. As you can see, it's a little bit lower than where the natural smile line would usually be, but I absolutely love this kind. I've been seeing them a lot, and I wish I could do it on my sub, but I know for a fact that I'm not going to be able to do that on my other hand, which is why I haven't tried it. But yeah, so we're gonna do this on all of the nails. And again, this is the Perfect Red Gel Polish by Madam Glam. As you guys know, I absolutely love their gel polishes. Like literally 99% of all of my polishes are by Madam Glam. So I definitely recommend that you check them out. They're really good quality, they last a really long time, and I just absolutely love them. So again, I do have a promo code for them, so I'll leave it down below. And then as you can see, for the smile line, I started doing, since it's like a way deeper smile line, as you can see, it goes all the way from like the sides of the nails. It was just a lot easier for me to do it with the smile line, and then go in and, you know, don't have to do so much cleaning up, because it was a little bit harder. But yeah, so I'm just gonna be using the nail art brush and then just filling in with the regular gel polish brush. Alrighty, we're going to go ahead and cure that first hand for 30 seconds. And we're going to go ahead and do the same thing on the other hand. And also, I'm only going to be doing one coat of the red on both hands. Because as you can see, it had like a perfect coverage. Especially since we have that covered pink underneath. We don't have to do so much, you know, or 2 coats of gel polish. It looked really good with just one. So after this, we're just going to do the top coat. And that's pretty much going to be it. Alrighty, so after the red, we just apply the Madam Glam gel top coat and cure it for 60 seconds. And here is the final look. As you can see, they turned out really pretty. That red is literally the perfect shade of red, and it went perfect with that nude. And they just turned out so good. I love that length. She literally pulls it off perfectly. But as always, I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at GetNo32. And I'll see you guys next time.